Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Stadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 38. The Argument. Gandhini's son, at break of day, to Sri Vrindavan takes his way, his mind exalted as he thought, while on the car his way he sought. Proceeding on the road he found those unique footprints on the ground, with ecstasy and love endeared, that dust upon his person smeared. He then arrives at close of day, beholds the brothers twain at play. Krishna received him and expressed warm welcome to his worthy guest. Thus Sukha does at length relate the themes of chapter 38. Sri Shuka said, in Madhupuri having spent that night, wise Akrura rose with the morning light, and mounting on his chariot he went at dawn to Nanda's cowherd settlement. That fortunate one, as the road he hied, felt excess of love for the lotus-eyed, and while he joyed in that ecstatic state, within himself gan to deliberate. What deeds of altruism have I done, and what severe penances undergone? What worship, what largesse in charity that I today Lord Keshava shall see? I think it is a thing rarely attained, for one to have a sight of the Lord gained, who is praised in choice verse. Consequently, he is not seen by worldlings such as me, e'en as the lowly peasant lacks the worth to recite hymns by stigma of his birth. But nay, think not so. Although I be base, today I shall behold Achyuta's face. The soul, though the stream of time to the stream of time consigned, sometime the way to get across may find. Today my evils are absolved and gone, the fruit of my existence I have won, since I this day shall bow and lay prostrate at lotus feet which yogins contemplate. Kamsa, though unaware, has favoured me, since I shall see those feet of Sri Hari, those lotus feet with radiant toenails, over the gloom of ignorance prevails, which light many in the past having gained, have crossed the darkness and freedom attained. Brahma and Bhava and the gods entreat, and goddess Sri adores those lotus feet. The sages and his votaries adore those lotus feet, his favour to implore. Upon those tender lotus feet divine, he treads the forest while tending the kine. Those feet shine with the red powder conferred from the breasts of the cowherd damsels transferred. Surely Mukunda's face I shall espy, since gentle deer upon my right pass by, with glossy cheeks and glowing countenance, prominent nose and a warm smiling glance, and eyes like soft lotus petals divine, which with a glow of dawn radiant shine, whose frontal locks hang loose about his face, enhancing his rare beauty and his grace. Ah me, today I shall see with my eyes the Supreme Lord Vishnu in human guise, the reservoir and store of loveliness, who to remove the burden and distress of earth is now incarnate in this day. There is none who may my fortune gainsay, for I shall have received the rarest prize and blessing to behold him with these eyes. Who is the witness void of ego sense, whence products of cause and effect commence, whose innate power and inherent might the gloom of difference illumines bright, whose power instrumental generates and in reception of his glance creates. Breath, senses, and intellect are supplied, wherein he is indirectly implied. In glory of his deeds, in speech rehearsed, the sins of all are absolved and dispersed, which of his births and attributes declare, sanctifies and affords supreme welfare. Whereas speech which to him does not relate were like a lifeless corpse to decorate. He is that very God by gods revered, who has in the Satvata clan appeared, to uphold his own codes of righteousness, affording to the great gods happiness, which gods his deeds eloquently proclaim, and spread the glory of his holy fame, granting to all endless auspiciousness, final beatitude and blessedness. That ruling Lord, who everywhere presides, now in the cowherd settlement abides. For certain this day I shall see the Lord, the preceptor of great ones and adored, whose beauty thus exhibited inspires the lovely goddess Shri with soft desires. Of all my dawning days, this day I gain the ultimate fulfillment of life's aim. And then I shall my chariot descend, and straightway at their lotus feet shall bend, and shall prostrate myself before the pair of primal beings who one nature share, who this vasty existence generate, whose lotus feet the yogins contemplate, and I shall render homage to their train, to all their friends, each herdsman and each swain. Then, while I at his feet lay prostrated, the Lord shall place his hand upon my head. Indeed, that lotus hand on me will place, which fear of the time serpent doth efface, whoso his refuge seeks from that despair, the touch of his hand assuages all fear. Indeed, by charity made to that hand, Kaushik and Bali gained heaven's command. Ah me, that hand which bears the fragrant scent with Saugandhika flower perfume blent, when sporting with cowherd dames, inspired with love when they were weary and perspired, with this same hand he stroked their faces bright, removing their fatigue, giving delight. Lord Achyuta will not consider me, though sent by Kamsa, as his enemy. since he, the universal witness, sees within, without, and all activities. All to his taintless vision is revealed, for he indeed is knower of the field. With palms to palm applied and bowing low at those soft feet, he will on me bestow a smiling glance, beaming with affection, which shall at once dispel my dejection, and through the ecstasy thereby achieved, I shall of all misgivings be relieved. Taking me for a dear kinsman restored, he who is my chosen and my cherished Lord will fold me in his mighty arms, and I the very bonds of action will untie. Embraced thus by that Lord of high renown, with palms together pressed, still bowing down, he shall address me in sweet tones and clear, and say, "O Akrura, my uncle dear, we shall the choicest fruit of life then win. But who is not so honoured? Fie on him. To him favoured or beloved there are none, nor does he any hate, despise, or shun. Yet he responds to his own devotee, as those who resort to the wishing tree. His elder, while with bowing head I stand, will take my folded palms within his hand. With smiles that Yadu chief will lead the way, and take me to their home and honour pay, and making the guest gift as rule decrees, of his kinsmen will make inquiries as to how their livelihoods they maintain as subjects of the wicked Kamsa's reign. Sri Shuka said, "The blessed son of Swapalka, dear king, upon Krishna deeply contemplating, on his car travelling along the road, at last arrived at the cowherd's abode. Just as Surya was going to his rest, setting behind the mountains of the west. And as toward the cowherd land he drew, he did those unique sacred footprints view, the dust whereof, conveying pure renown, each world guardian bears upon his crown. He saw those footprints, here and there adorn with signs of lotus gold and barley corn, the blessed earth lending its sanctity and enhancing her natural beauty. Exulting was he at that sight to see, and was perturbed by loving ecstasy, thrilled with abundant joy at that sight there. His eyes brimmed over with tears, and his hair bristled all over from intense delight. Then quickly from his car he did alight, and rolled in the dust, uninhibited, besmearing all his body and his head, and cried aloud in love exuberantly, "This is the dust from my Lord's feet, ah me!" This verily for embodied souls is the goal of life and source of supreme bliss. To put all misapprehension aside, doing away with fear, sorrow, and pride. Though he but ensued the command and hest of Kamsa, he was fortunately blessed, absorbing his thought, his vision, and mind in things that may one of Hari remind. Thereupon he beheld the princely pair, while to the milking parlour they repair, Krishna and Rama clad in garment fine, one of them dark, the other fair did shine. That one wore raiment of a yellow hue, The other was clad in robes of dark blue. Their eyes as autumnal lotus appear. Thus shone the handsome adolescent pair. Their mighty arms extending to the knee, their ample bosoms resting place of Shri, they most handsome countenances display, and as a pair of young elephants play. The flag, the boat, the goad, the lotus shine upon their footsoles, and render sublime the glory of the earth. Their glances show sweet tender smiles, and compassion bestow. He saw them who in lustrous deeds delight, with fragrant forest flower garlands dight, their limbs with odorous substances smeared, freshly bathed and ornamented appeared. The source of nature and being adored, the cause of all the world and the world's great Lord, who had descended now for the world's sake, and with their parts did incarnation take, as Bala and Keshava, O dear King, whose refulgence away doth darkness fling. One of them seemed a mount of silver bright, with finely polished gold ornaments dight. The other like a mount of emerald, also adorned with shiny burnished gold. In haste Akrura from his car did light, and prompted by affection and delight, fell like a rod, and his prostration made. At Rama and Krishna's feet his head he laid. Such joy at the sight of the Lord bestowed rapture, and the tears of ecstasy flowed. Thrilled with horripilation and trembling, he could not introduce himself, O King. The Lord well recognized him, and with zeal, with hands that bear the mark of the cartwheel, he held him in a fond, tender embrace to those who bow, ready to show his grace. To Sankarshan also in homage bent, who taking hold his hand with his hand went, and with his younger brother brought him home, then honoured him with a worthy welcome. As holy writ ordains, they washed his feet, and offered him a luxurious seat, inquired if he had a pleasant trip, and gave him honey mixed with milk to sip. The mighty Lord honoured his worthy guest by gift of cow, and to afford him rest, massaged his legs and feet with filial care, and fed him with the best of dainty fare. When he to satisfaction was well fed, Rama, with codes of virtue acquainted, spices and flower garlands then supplied, and he again was fully satisfied. Then Nanda, having honoured him, said, "How are you and all your people doing now? How under Kamsa's misrule do you keep secure as a butcher might care for sheep? That cruel Kamsa slew for self-interest his sister's babes, e'en as she wailed distressed. What then will he to his subjects not do? What then may we deem of the state of you?" Thus having Nanda's genial speech heard, which high honour upon him had conferred, the wise Akrura thus kindly received, of all his weariness he was relieved. Thus ends chapter 38 in Srimad Bhagavat Purana, the great and glorious Mahapurana, the text beloved of swan-like saints, sung by the son of Vyasa. Om Tat Sat, Hare Krishna.